Yes.
Okay, good. So I moved to Tempe, and then, it's like 2007. I just wanted to do something different, and I love living in a desert, but maybe not like in the summertime.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. So that's what kind of brought me out here. And it was like, also it was like really hard to meet people at first because everyone is so spread out. And it's not like how it is now. There's actually like a central meeting place for people who like stuff.
Yeah. No, it's really, and it's honestly, I know people have differing opinions of the light rail and so forth, and all of the, all the stuff going in downtown over the last few years, but it's made it a lot easier to connect with people.
Exactly.
And to get around, for sure.
Yeah, it's not perfect. I wish things would be a little bit like more affordable.
That's a problem, right?
Yeah. They're going to have to do something about that. But it'll probably...
Because everything going in right now, all of those luxury apartment places and all that, unless you have some, I don't know, profession that pays way more than I have. Yeah. There's no way. They basically, I remember Roosevelt Row when it was all dirt and there was nothing really around there. There were a few galleries here and there.
Yeah, I remember that too.
The auto shop has been there for a long time, and there's all that sort of thing. And I remember when Modified Art was there, and there was nothing else around it. And but anyway, it's been kind of nice to see some of these things come in, but then all the things to me that made it cool, well, not all the things, but a lot of the things that were great about it have been priced out of it. You know? And now I like the concept. I get what they're going for of this whole, self-contained sort of city thing where you can live in the apartments above the places where you go to get your coffee or shop or whatever. I get that. It's a neat concept, but it's pricing all the creative people right out of there. So, yeah.
And it's like, if you go to Joe Pod, it's just a whole different experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm glad that they got like a space, but it's just different.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
So that's been hard, but so it was like really, it was like hard to like find people to connect with. Cause like, who do you like, you could go to like Modified or the Clubhouse, you're like, but then you kind of would start, you're like, who do you like talk to or whatever. But then like, I was just like starting to like see people going to the same shows. And like, I think one night I was like at something in Tempe and I was like drunk and I just like, introduced myself to people. And someone was like, oh yeah, like go and have this dance night, go to this. I'm like, I really don't go to dance nights, but I'll go to this because I like want to meet new people. So I think it just kind of started that way. Yeah. But I definitely think like having like Crescent Open and Charlie, being a pioneer of all that part of like having a central meeting place. Yeah. I mean, Modified had a place, so it was not like, didn't bring as many, it brought people together, but then there's like another, I feel like Modified kind of pushed that to like Crescent for to open up, but I felt like there was like, like you just meet new people. Then a lot of times here it's like you meet different people, but then you didn't know all this other stuff existed.
Right.
So I was talking about that with someone at Trunk Space. It's just like, there's this whole other community. I didn't even know.
That's another place that got displaced.
Yeah, that's another place. I was actually there last night for the Desert Trash.
How was that?
It was pretty good. It was actually sold out.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And they actually had a beer garden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple of times since it moved, but it's kind of, again, and I don't know, it ends up making me feel super old where I can just be like, I remember back when it was in, such and such spot off of Grand and whatever, and they had
the cat too, Noodle.
Yeah.
Do you remember the cat?
Yeah.
Like I would pet that cat. But yeah, it's cool. I'm glad that they, are a 501c3 and they have like all that support.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now, so that kind of brings us to how did you get involved with Yabium?
Well, just like I would just read, honestly, I read their stuff on Facebook. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. And then like, it was like almost a couple years ago, I was over at Side Pony. And so like, I was like, internet friends with like Carly and Mark. Mm-hmm. I don't think I realized I ever met them in person. And like, we're all like standing outside. It was like me, them. I think it was like Jed, Foster, and Gren. And so like we're just all standing outside, and we're like, it was on a Friday night. And so I think I just introduced myself because I'm like, I want a pin. Because like they have like one of those groupie pins. I'm like, so we just started talking. Well, there's pretty cool. And then I was like, oh, you know. And then like a while, like maybe October or September, like, oh, you know, I have this idea about social media. We can talk to like other people about what your social media experience is. Like, what do you think of it? So I just literally just asked her like if they like were okay with me like writing about that. And so like they're totally fine with it. So
cool.
Sometimes I'll see them in real life.
That whole concept is still something that I don't know that I fully understand. I don't think I fully utilize it to its full potential, and I don't know that it's necessary. I don't know. So the whole self-promotion and what so far have you kind of learned or experiences that people have shared, that is there any sort of common thread for people that have had any success with promoting themselves through social media? Or what have you learned yourself as far as like some cornerstones of people that are doing it well, I guess?
I think it's just like people want to connect. And I think that people just like use like social media as like, you know, like their advice is always just to be yourself and just, I guess it's like, this is kind of corny and cliche, very like social media, like be authentic, but just like being yourself and then like hoping that people reach out, you know, so I was actually just interviewed with someone that was like, you know, as long as like, you know, you're being true to yourself and people will resonate with that. I think that's what it is. Cause I think like people will see through like if you're being fake or something.
Sure.
So I think that's like mostly about connecting people like outside of social media, but then you kind of need it to connect with people.
Right.
So I think that's kind of like the common thread I've like noticed.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's really starting to come down a little bit now. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I really like the rain. As long as I don't have to go drive in it, I'm fine. I feel bad for you. You're going to be out in it all day. But yeah, I don't. So, and this is not. This is not me trying to get you to consult on our social media platform.
Yeah.
But I guess I just don't know what I've never found really what is super effective for us, and I don't feel comfortable. You know, I don't think that I actually post anything about myself anymore. I'm only posting about an interview that I've done or a podcast that just dropped or a book that's coming out or something. And this whole, like, it seems a lot of this too is just in the regularity of it. And it doesn't, I'm slightly too old to have gotten used to, and almost also too antisocial just in general, to have gotten used to just having this be part of a thing that I remember to do. And I'm like, I don't know how many times a day should I be posting something, how much, I have no idea. How do people like find things or make their voices heard in this? I don't follow a ton of people, mostly because I have this idea of, if I'm following somebody, I want to kind of like be able to track, like actually interact with people. Yeah. And if you're following thousands of accounts, how do people kind of like weed through all of that?
I think it's just the algorithm of like what the people that you top follow.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are going to be in your stories and your feed. But yeah, it is honestly hard to like, keep track of everything. But maybe like, I guess like Instagram stories also help too. Like kind of shows people like different sides. Like a lot of people, I know a lot of bands do Instagram stories or like post like, oh, I'm podcasting here, like at this coffee shop.
Sure.
Because people like knowing like where people are without being, so you can like do that personally, like, but have it not be like too personal. So I will actually find out like coffee shops and like bands on tour. I'm like, oh, I should like go there or something. So I think that's probably like a good way, but but sometimes, I know like people like will talk about like their feelings and Dear Diary and just like, I don't think that's quite for me, but some people are more comfortable with it than others. But I think it just depends on like the account. Some people will actually do that. I know some people that will just, hold themselves accountable that way.
Sure.
But I don't know. My personal one, I just keep it private. I'm just like, I just want to post like travel pictures and band pictures. But I'll use some of my Facebook for like other stuff. Like, oh, this is the article I wrote or something like that.
Yeah.
And I have my scooter litter account with my friend Henry, who actually like does the social media for Silver Platter. So we just post pictures of scooters. So we have our friends send it to us, and it's just we're just like highlighting like scooter problems like throughout the city that are blocking, sidewalks and making it hard for people, with like disabilities. And so we're just like highlighting that, and so that's pretty much don't talk about we'll post like articles and stuff like that.
It seems like
stories.
kind of a tongue-in-cheek sort of thing too. Like there's a little bit of humor in it sometimes, and it's the scooter fails and things like that. It's interesting. Why? So what was the whole? When did those things even start happening? Suddenly there were bikes, and then there are now these scooter things, right? So is the idea that you just pay to use something temporarily, and then people just, because I had noticed we're along a bus route here, so people will just drop the bike somewhere, often in the grass by the bus stop, or I'll be running by the canal or something, and I'll see that somebody's just, I don't know, their time ran out and they just ditch it or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure what it's doing.
I think people like want alternative modes of transportation. Like obviously a lot of them like are owned by Uber and Lyft. I think Lime is owned by Uber, and there's like Bird, but a lot of them like are like in Santa Monica and LA. So I found like a lot of Instagram accounts like that. And there's like this one that's like really popular, Scooter Graveyard, which is like in San Francisco, and he'll like just post all these, crazy stuff like people burning their scooters and stuff like that. But there wasn't really one for Phoenix, and scooter litter was, not taken yet, surprisingly. So we did that, but it's just. They were like, it was like 2 years ago, like they just started popping up, and we just noticed there's a lot more like in Tempe and Mesa.
Okay.
People just don't obey traffic laws, and they're just like all around, but there's like no place to put these things either. And people can just like have an app, and they just will, like, oh, how long we want to ride, and because there's like no place to park them. And now downtown is like, Phoenix is going to try to get some in. Yeah. So I just like, this is just such a bad idea, but there's like just no place to put anything.
Yeah, it doesn't seem there. It's almost, you need like a depository or something. It seems like you need to have infrastructure in general is something that fascinates me in how poorly it gets planned, right? Because the idea of having these alternative modes of transportation is great, but again, unless you have some place to park it, not so great, right? Yeah. The whole idea, I love the idea of driving electric, but unless there are places all over to go ahead and, and charge things, or they make it, for instance, I can never have an electric car here because we have carports. I can't plug something in over here. Yeah. It's where, if the execution is often solid and the follow through, not so much.
Pretty much. There's actually been cities that are banning them now.
Oh, really?
Like Little Rock, Corpus Christi, they banned the birds. I think it's a Lime or Bird once, but I read an article about that. So a lot of cities are just not liking it. And there's actually a brewery in Austin that's just like making fun of the scooter thing. He's like, there's like no scooter beer. So it's just, they're just around. And I mean, I understand like it's a good idea, but it's just, like where are you going to put these things at? And then like you can't move them because there's actually GPS, and if you move them without paying, like the cops will come after you. Oh, so you just kind of have to like leave them there, like hoping like they'll get picked up.
What scooter litter, by the way, initially when I saw that, I was like, is this a cat thing? Like, is it? It sounds like it would be a great brand for like a cute little cat named Scooter, and it's cat litter.
Well, I actually will like scour like